Thank you very much. You know, it's a real thrill to do these shows from New York. This is my home. I was born here. Of course, Gracie was born in San Francisco, and it was really vaudeville that got us together. I'll never forget, I was playing the Gem Theater in San Francisco, and my name then was Smiling Frankie Davis. In smart songs and syncopated patter. My opening number was, "The birds are sweetly singing and perfumed flowers are bringing in the wind is worn as it's passing by." Bye. I love to sing. And after my opening song, I looked out in the audience and I spotted Gracie sitting in the 10th row. This wasn't hard to do. She was the only one left. So I leaned over the footlights and I thanked her for staying, and she said, "Now you can do something for me. Help me with my dress. It's caught in the seat." I did, and that night we had our first date, and I was short of money, and I went out to see the manager, and I walked into his office, and I says, "How do you do? I'm Smiling Frankie Davis. How did you like my act?" And he punched me right in the mouth. From then on, I was known as Plain Frankie Davis. Anyway, 3 years later, we were married in Cleveland. And I'll never forget, after giving the Justice of the Peace $5, I asked Gracie, no, I gave him $2. Yeah, that's right, $2. Still owe Gracie $3 change. I asked Gracie where she'd like to spend her honeymoon. And she says, "Oh, I don't know. Ask my sister Bessie where she'd like to go." So I had a talk with her. I explained to her that the honeymoon was more fun if there were just two people. And I convinced her. And she and Bessie wrote me from Niagara Falls every day. Well, I'm just kidding. I only got one letter. Now I'd like to take you to Beverly Hills, where Gracie is listening to her favorite afternoon program.
What, you want to be hanged? No, Daddy, Miss Crawford, the door is locked. What? No! It's open. Miss Crawford, come back.
Tune in again tomorrow when Aunt Mary faces this problem.
Ah, I love Aunt Mary. Oh, forgot the program's over. I can turn this on.
How do you do, madam? I'm Mr. Sweeney from the County Tax Assessor's office. I've come to appraise your furniture.
Oh, well, do I have to bring it out, or can you come in and look at it?
I usually go in and look at it.
Oh, good. Come right in.
Thank you.
And put your hat right here in the hall.
It's a very nice house you have here.
Oh, thank you.
Are you Mrs. Burns?
Yes, Mr. Burns is much taller.
My, that coffee smells good.
Oh, would you like a cup?
I'd love it.
Oh, all right. Oh, please excuse the looks of the house. You know, it's hard to keep it straight.
Well, children do have a way of messing up a house, all right.
Oh, we have no children.
Oh, excuse me. I suppose you have a cat or a dog.
No, if we were going to have anything, we'd have children.
I wonder if I heard right.
I brought you something to go with the coffee.
Oh, well, let me help you with that.
Oh, thank you. Put it right there on the table.
All right, Miss Burns.
Hello? Oh, hello, Blanche. Oh, look, Blanche, I can't talk very long. The tax assessor's here. Oh, we'd love to go to the football game. Yeah, well, I'll come over and see you later, Blanche. Goodbye. Oh, do you like football, Mr. Sweeney?
I never miss a football game.
Well, you would if you ever went to one. They're wonderful. Now,
I'll try it.
As I said, I brought you something to go with the coffee.
Oh, you shouldn't have bothered.
Oh, it's no bother.
You serve carnation milk on a silver platter?
Oh, sure. We serve it on cereal, on strawberries. We serve it on almost anything. It's wonderful.
Sounds delicious. Well, I can certainly use a cup of coffee.
Oh, I poured mine first. Excuse me.
That's all right. It was perfectly all right for you to have poured yours first.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. This won't take long, Mrs. Burns. I brought your last year's tax with me.
Oh, good. We can certainly use it in times like these when prices are so high.
You don't understand.
Oh, yes, I do. I just said to my husband this morning, if they don't do something to cut down the high cost of living, we'll just have to get along without it.
Mrs. Burns, you're having fun with me.
Not unless my husband goes along. How many sugars?
2, please. I didn't mean that I brought your tax money with me.
Oh, what did you do with it?
I didn't do anything with it. The county has it. They need it. They have a $2 million deficit.
Oh, well, just let him get a cheaper one.
I think I'll be going.
Oh, won't you have another cup of coffee?
No, thank you. One was enough.
Oh, I certainly admire your willpower. You know, I usually take 2 or 3 cups of coffee.
Mrs. Burns, I've interviewed a lot of women in my time, but never one like you.
Oh.
I still think you're having fun with me.
And I still say not unless my husband goes along.
I know just where that guy is headed, the corner drugstore to get some aspirin. Do you know that druggist has offered to pay our rent if I'd stay in this neighborhood? But I'd never move. I love this. Oh, there's the newsboy. Never misses our porch. Except when it rains, then he throws it on the roof.
Hey, George.
Oh, that's our next-door neighbor, Harry Morton.
George?
Excuse me. Yes, Harry, what is it?
Your paper's here.
On radio, I could have done this entire bit sitting on a chair. But you know, getting back to Harry Morton, he loves football. 2 to 1, he turns right to the sports section.
Holy smokes. Bronco Wojciechowski's not going to start tonight, Blanche, and I bet on State.
Oh, say, Harry, I forgot to tell you.
Oh.
George and Gracie are going to the football game with us.
Oh, no, not Gracie.
What's wrong with Gracie?
Have you any idea what poor George takes from her?
No, but I bet it's a pretty penny.
Why don't you stop with that? George could be a success without Gracie.
Yeah, like Edgar Bergen without Charlie McCarthy.
There's a silly comparison, Blanche. Bergen works with a dummy, and George works... Okay, you win that point. Anyway, she doesn't know anything about football, Blanche. She couldn't pick the winner if Notre Dame was playing Vassar.
This year, who could? Besides which, you're not such an expert yourself, you know, Harry.
You're forgetting that I played for Flushing A&M.
Oh, no, Harry, I remember.
Yeah, will you ever forget the big game? What a day. 40,000 people in the stands yelling, "Give us Speedy! Put in Speedy! We want Speedy!"
So they took you out and put in Speedy.
Well, I wasn't in condition. The night before, I was up until 2 o'clock in the morning waiting for your folks to go to bed. So we could neck.
They should have put Speedy in then, too.
Very, very funny, Blanche. Can I read the paper?
Go
Do you mind
ahead,
if
go
I like to
ahead,
read
go
the
ahead.
paper?
Come in.
It's me, Blanche.
Oh, in here, Gracie.
The tax assessor didn't stay very long. Oh, hello, Harry.
Hello,
The
Gracie.
tax assessor didn't stay long.
No, I saw him when he left your house. He had a sort of a dazed look on his face.
Well, it must be the weather, Blanche. Almost everybody I talk to has that same look.
I'll drink to that.
Oh, say, look at that ad. There's a big sale at Bullock. Oh, Harry, do you mind if I cut it out?
I want you to,
Oh,
Gracie.
all right. Oh, I love their linens. They have the most wonderful linens.
I wish it was a coat sale. We're going to the football game, and I'm wearing a coat that's 5 years old.
Don't worry about it, Blanche. Nobody will see you. Probably won't put you into the third quarter anyway.
There we are. Here we are, Harry.
Thanks.
Oh, there's a piece of your tablecloth, Blanche. Oh, you used that to cover the hole. Oh, Blanche, you're very clever.
Yeah.
Oh, don't bother, Blanche. I'll open it on my way out.
Oh, thanks, Gracie.
Bye. Bye, Gracie.
Yes?
I beg your pardon. No.
George!
I better see what you want.
Yes, dear?
Goodbye.
You know, if I gotta make this trip again, Gracie'll have to get herself a younger straight man. And now, while I'm catching my breath, I want you to meet a charming girl with a beautiful voice, Miss Ellen Hanley.
New sun up in a new sky. My whole horizon has reached a new high. Yesterday my heart sang a blue song, but today here at home a cheery new song. I dreamed a new dream, saw a new face. I'm spreading sunshine all over the place. With a new point of view, here's what meets my eye. You love, you son of the sky. Yesterday things were so gloomy, but today they're shining and new. Oh, what a change has come to me. I've been dusted off the shelf. I am not myself. What a different world I view. I dreamed a new dream, saw a new face. I'm spreading sunshine all over the place. With a new point of view. All of my dreaming is true. I got a new love, new thought, new thought in
Well, she was real nice. Well, now I think it's time to put a little plot in the show. And we try to strike a happy medium. We have more plot than a variety show, and not as much as a wrestling match. So here goes. Music, curtain, and plot.
Hello, may I speak to Bill Goodwin, please? Oh, Bill, this is Gracie. Oh, I'm in such trouble, Bill. Look, I came home from the beauty shop, I drove home, and I noticed a dent in the fender. And if George sees it, he'll never let me drive the car again. Well, I want you to come over and borrow the car from George and have it fixed before he finds out about it. Yes. Oh, well, bring Miss Jones along with you. Oh, thank you, Bill. Goodbye.
Yeah, that's it. That's the plot. What'd you expect, Shakespeare? I'll tell you something about plot, but don't tell this to Ed Sullivan or Eddie Cantor. It's cheaper than guest stars. And another thing about plot. You don't have to worry about billing. Oh, here I go again. Pardon me. Yes, Gracie?
George, what would you like for dinner? There's some wonderful recipes in the Carnation cookbook.
Well, anything you fix will be delicious. You know, Gracie, I thought of something today that you will never remember.
What?
I still owe you $3.
No, dear, it's $8. I gave you 10 the day we were married.
Well, what'd you do today?
Well, I went to the beauty shop, and I met Clara Bagley. She was going to the doctor's, so I was along with her.
Well, that was very nice of you.
But the minute I got in the doctor's office, I knew he was no good.
You knew he was a bad doctor?
All his patients were sick.
You're very observing.
Yeah, oh, here's a good one. Have you got a pencil?
There's a pencil on the back table.
All right. He had a beautiful blonde nurse, and even she was sick.
She was sick,
Yeah,
too?
she kept begging him to take out her appendix.
The nurse wanted her appendix taken out?
Yeah, every time she went into his private office, I could hear her saying, "Now, doctor, please cut it out."
What was the matter with Clara that she had to go see a doctor?
Well, I think it was to have the dents taken out of her knees.
She had dents in her knees.
Yes, because every time I looked in the office, he was pounding them out with a little rubber hammer.
I'll explain that to you later.
You got a piece of paper?
There's some paper on the table there.
So while she was in the doctor's office, I was in the waiting room, and I cheered up all the patients.
I knew that you would.
Oh, and wait till I tell you. There was one poor little boy sitting all by himself, and he looked so sad. So I brought him around and made everybody shake hands with him.
And that made him feel better.
Yeah, well, he almost forgot he had the measles.
Your friendliness was very contagious.
Yes, I helped the nurse, too. I answered the phone for her.
I say.
Someone called up and wanted to know if a man 85 years old could have rickets.
Hmm.
And I said, "Oh, sure, let him have all he wants, as long as he chews them well."
You were a real big help down there today.
Yes. You got a pencil?
I'll get it for you. You're liable to forget the book.
Oh, and then there was a doctor in the next office whistling. And
This doctor was whistling?
yes, and the nurse said that was Dr. Brown, the famous obstetrician.
I see.
She said that last year he had 260 babies. And I said, well, I bet his wife isn't whistling.
What are we having for dinner?
Oh, I've got something wonderful. Wait till you see it. It's right there.
Oh, yes. Well, just write it down. Leave it right there.
Now, you answer the phone at the door and let Bill and his girl in.
How do you know it's Bill and his girl? Were you expecting them?
No, but then my mother wasn't expecting me either, but here I am.
You see, honey, Gracie dented the fender, so I'm supposed to borrow the car and get it repaired before George finds out. We'll only be here a couple of minutes, okay?
Well, Gracie was right.
Huh?
Nothing. Come on in.
Oh, thanks. George, meet Miss Jones.
How do you do, Miss Jones? It's nice to see you. Hello, Willie. Hi, George. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you.
And Miss Jones, won't you sit down? Well, Willie, what brings you here?
Well, George, I won't be here very long, but I'd like to ask a favor.
Anything, Willie.
Could I borrow your car for a few hours?
Well, of course. What happened to yours?
To mine? Well, I had an accident, a terrible accident, and this girl might be dying. I've got to get her to a hospital.
This girl?
Yeah. Oh, it was terrible, George. Wasn't it, Miss Jones?
Yeah.
George,
Yes?
we were driving along, see, when all of a sudden this big truck smashed into us head on. Gee, I didn't know what to do. It was awful. Wasn't it, Miss Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah. Our car rolled over. I squeezed out of the window. But there was Snookums pinned under the car.
Snookums?
Well, in time of danger, people get very close.
Well, naturally, yes.
Right, Snookums?
Yeah.
I bent down, George. I didn't know whether she was unconscious or not.
I still don't.
I tried to lift up the car, I couldn't do it from this side.
Cars are heavy,
yeah.
yes.
So I went to the other side.
The other side,
I
yeah.
tried to lift it from here, George.
Mhm.
And by exerting all my strength, I lifted this car 3 feet in the air. And there was Miss Jones. And... Hey, look at those carnation recipes there.
Miss Jones is under the car, Willie.
Well, Miss Jones, listen, if you want to make delicious whipped toppings for puddings, pies, and shortcakes, use undiluted carnation evaporated milk. Carnation is also wonderful for cream sauces, for creaming vegetables. Or you can mix it half and half with water in recipes that call for milk.
The girl is under the car, Bill.
Now look, this is the recipe grocers are featuring this week. It's pumpkin pie made with carnation evaporated milk. That's the most delicious pumpkin pie you ever tasted. My mother uses carnation all the time, and she makes the most delicious pumpkin pie. I tell you what we'll do. You come with me, we'll go to my house and have her fix us some, huh?
Wait a minute, Bill.
What?
You forgot the car.
Oh, the car. I was down there lifting this car, see, 3 feet in the air. Miss Jones was...
Drop the car. Drop it. Now, Willie, why don't you go to your mother's, have her fix this pumpkin pie, and tell her to save me a piece?
Well, why don't you lend me your car and I can bring you a piece right away?
No car.
Well, tell Gracie I'm sorry. Come on, Miss Jones.
Wait a minute.
Huh?
What do you mean? What's Gracie got to do with this?
Well, I tell you, you just tell her that a certain old creep wouldn't go for it. She'll understand.
A certain old creep?
Mm-hmm.
Do I know who this is?
Yeah.
Come on, Miss Jones.
She took Gracie's carnation cookbook. Miss Jones. Miss Jones. Miss Jones. You know, I don't see what Bill sees in that girl. Granted, she's a beautiful girl and has a gorgeous figure. But it must be pretty dull to spend an evening with a girl who says nothing but yeah. But I think Bill is a very, very nice boy, and I like Bill. And I like Bill because he Oh, the Martins, I gotta let them in, pardon me.
Oh, just a second, Blanche.
Well, thank you, Harry. Sometimes you are a gentleman.
Huh?
Hello, George. Come on in.
You got your coat on? We better ride.
Gracie, you better get our coats. The Martins are here.
All right, George.
Sit down, Blanche. She takes a little while.
I think I will.
Say, George.
Yeah?
Will you do me a favor? Don't make me sit next to Gracie this time like last game. I couldn't even explain the kickoff to her.
Well, maybe you didn't explain it right.
Well, how would you explain it?
Well, the quarterback puts his left end on one side of the field, his right end on the other side, and kicks off.
Well, I don't blame him. That would kill anybody.
Gracie,
Hmm?
tonight you're sitting next to George.
Oh, good.
Isn't that nice?
Blanche, we'll have to borrow your car tonight. You don't mind, do you?
Oh, of course not.
Just a minute, Blanche. I loaned our car to Jim Seward. He's going to Yuma to get married.
He is? Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, but he hasn't found it out yet.
Look, what's all the fuss about? We can use our car.
Oh, no, George. You know you let Bill Goodwin have it?
Oh, no, I didn't go for that story. Our car is in the garage. Come on, let's go, Blanche.
Oh, no, wait a minute. I've got a wonderful idea.
What?
Let's walk to the game.
Walk?
Yes.
5 miles?
5 miles? Are you silly or something?
Walking is good for you. It contains vitamins. Well, look at my sister Bessie. Nobody walks like Bessie.
Nobody is built like Bessie.
No.
This is the silliest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Stop. Nobody is going to ride in the car.
Why?
Because it's dangerous. Why,
Dangerous?
Well, sure, every day you read about some car hitting a pedestrian. We're going to walk.
Look, Gracie, are you ashamed of our car because the fender is dented?
You know about that?
I did it this morning.
You did it?
Yeah, when I backed out of the garage.
Well, George Burns, I'm so mad at you, I don't think I'll ever talk to you again. Come on, Harry. At the game tonight, I'm going to sit next to you.
George and Gracie will be back in just a second. But right now, I'd like to talk to you all about something. It's pumpkin pies. Now, do you know what the secret of making a delicious pumpkin pie is? Here's the answer. Carnation evaporated milk. Pumpkin pie made with carnation milk is the richest, creamiest, smoothest pie you ever tasted. Ask your grocer for the recipe. And remember, you can use carnation in any recipe that calls for milk or cream. Well, now, for instance, I'll show you. I need a cup for this bit, and I always have a pocket full of cups. Pardon me. There we are. Now, I'll put it on the table. Now, in place of cream, you use it just as it pours from the can, like this. When you need milk, you just add an equal amount of water. Like this. Pretty simple, huh? And yet, folks, carnation costs just about 1/3 less than bottled milk. So isn't this a terrific saving? Wonderful. And now there's just one more thing I want to show you, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Jones, will you come out here, please? Isn't this beautiful? I mean the pumpkin pie. And now, folks, here are George and Gracie again.
Mother is a good cook. That was delicious. Well, Gracie and I will be back again in 2 weeks. And I was just told that we're about 40 or 50 seconds short, and I'd love to do some little thing, but we're not prepared.
I am.
You see,
I can tell you about Mr. Paley.
It's very
Mr. Paley
it's very
came to my
hard
dressing
to
room with 2
time
glasses of champagne.
these shows.
I
To
can't
time
tell
these
that
shows
because
unless
just
you know how long
talking
you've
all the
got to
time,
do
I
it.
can't get a word in.
You might
But
not.
Mr. Paley came to my dressing room with 2 glasses
you
of
might
champagne
not
just a
believe
little while
this,
ago. Did
but
you know
there
that, George, about Mr.
there
Paley
are
coming to my
about
dressing room? Came back
there
just a
are
little while
about
ago with 2
7
glasses
or
of
8
champagne.
fellas.
2 glasses of champagne.
2 glasses of champagne.
Yes, he did.
Mr. Paley.
Yes.
2 glasses?
Yes, and he said to me, he said, well, Gracie, here's to your health. Let's drink bottoms up.
Well,
Well, isn't that kind of an awkward position?
Appearing on the program tonight were Bob Sweeney as the tax assessor and Marilyn Clark as Miss Jones. The George Burns and Gracie Allen Show will be back in 2 weeks. Stay tuned for The Show Goes On with Robert Q. Lewis on most of these stations. This is Bill Goodwin speaking for Carnation. Bye.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcast.